There's a moment in every person's life when they realize that everything they've been told about money is wrong. For some, it happens when they're drowning in debt, despite working 60-hour weeks. For others, it's watching someone with half their education build an empire while they struggle to pay rent. That moment of awakening is where real wealth begins. See, we've been conditioned to believe that money is the result of circumstances beyond our control, that it flows to the lucky, the connected, the privileged. We're taught that wealth is finite, that for someone to win, someone else must lose. But if you study the patterns of wealth creation across cultures, across generations, across every economic system that's ever existed, you'll discover something remarkable. Wealth isn't about the money at all. It's about the mind that creates it. Think about this for a moment. Two people can receive the exact same inheritance. 5 years later, one has multiplied it into millions while the other has lost it all. What's the difference? It's not luck. It's not external circumstances. It's the internal programming that determines how they think, how they decide, and ultimately, how they act when opportunity presents itself. This programming starts early. We're raised in a world that teaches us to fear financial risk, to value security over opportunity, to trade our time for someone else's dream in exchange for the promise of stability. We're taught that money is scarce, that rich people are somehow different from us, that wealth is reserved for those who were born into it or got lucky breaks that we'll never see. But the wealthy understand something the rest of us miss. Every dollar that exists today was once just an idea in someone's mind. Every business, every innovation, every breakthrough that created fortunes started as a thought. The person who learned to control their thoughts learned to control their financial destiny. Here's where it gets interesting. The most successful people I've studied don't just think differently about money, they think differently about everything. They see problems where others see impossibilities. They see solutions where others see obstacles. When the economy crashes, they see buying opportunities. When industries collapse, they see the space for something new to emerge. When others panic, they plan. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful fantasy. This is about rewiring your brain to process reality through the lens of possibility rather than limitation. It's about developing what I call opportunity vision, the ability to spot value where others see nothing at all. It's about training your mind to ask, how can I, instead of why can't I? Take Sarah Blakely, who turned a simple frustration with pantyhose into a billion-dollar empire called Spanx. She had no business experience, no fashion background, no connections in the industry. What she had was a problem she wanted to solve, and the audacity to believe she could solve it. She spent her evenings for 2 years researching patents, calling manufacturers, and learning an industry from scratch. Today, she's one of the youngest self-made female billionaires in the world. Or consider Howard Schultz, who grew up in housing projects in Brooklyn and is now worth over $4 billion. He didn't inherit Starbucks. He was just an employee who had a vision for what the company could become. When the founders wouldn't listen to his ideas, he left, started his own company, and eventually bought Starbucks. His wealth didn't come from his circumstances. It came from his ability to see potential where others saw only what already existed. Warren Buffett once said that someone's sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. The wealthy plant trees. Everyone else looks for existing shade. The difference isn't in their circumstances, it's in their time horizon and their willingness to invest in futures they can't yet see. But planting trees requires more than just hope. It requires knowledge. And here's where most people fail themselves. They'll spend hours researching which phone to buy, but won't invest a single minute learning how money actually works. They'll watch Netflix for 3 hours a night, but claim they don't have time to read a book on investing. They'll scroll through social media for hours, but won't take a course on building a business. The wealthy are obsessed with learning because they understand that skills compound faster than money ever could. When you master valuable skills, you don't just earn more. You become more valuable to the marketplace. You become someone who solves problems that matter, who creates value that others are willing to pay for. And that's the secret hiding in plain sight. Money is simply gratitude expressed in numerical form. It's the marketplace saying thank you for the value you've delivered. The more valuable you become, the more gratitude flows your way. But becoming valuable requires effort that most people simply aren't willing to invest. They want the harvest without planting. They want the strength without the training. They want the knowledge without the studying. They want the business without the building. They want the results without the process. And then they wonder why wealth remains elusive while they work harder than ever, just to stay in the same place. The truth is, most people are working hard in the wrong direction. They're climbing ladders that are leaning against the wrong walls. They're optimizing for efficiency in systems that aren't designed to create wealth. They're playing by rules that were written to keep them exactly where they are. The wealthy work differently because they understand leverage. While others trade hours for dollars, they build systems that generate value around the clock. They create assets that appreciate while they sleep. They develop skills so rare and valuable that the marketplace has no choice but to reward them extraordinarily. Consider Jeff Bezos, who started Amazon in a garage with the simple idea that people might want to buy books online. He didn't just create a bookstore, he created a system that could scale to sell anything to anyone, anywhere. Today, Amazon processes millions of transactions every day, generating wealth while Bezos focuses on long-term strategy rather than day-to-day operations. This is why entrepreneurship isn't just about starting businesses, it's about developing an ownership mindset in everything you do. It's about asking, how can I improve this, instead of how can I get through this? It's about building rather than just participating. It's about creating value rather than just consuming it. But ownership goes deeper than just starting a company. It's about taking ownership of your thoughts, your habits, your decisions, and your results. Most people live as victims of their circumstances, always explaining why things happen to them rather than taking responsibility for making things happen. The wealthy understand that while they can't control everything that happens to them, they can control how they respond to everything that happens to them. They focus their energy on what they can influence rather than what they can't. They build their identity around their ability to adapt and overcome, rather than their ability to predict and avoid. This is where the concept of delayed gratification becomes crucial. The wealthy are willing to sacrifice immediate pleasures for long-term gains. They'll skip the expensive dinner to invest in education. They'll work weekends on their side business instead of watching television. They'll read instead of scroll. They'll build instead of buy. But perhaps the most critical difference between the wealthy and everyone else is their relationship with failure. Most people avoid failure at all costs, which means they avoid growth at all costs. They play it safe, stick to what they know, and wonder why their lives never change. The wealthy understand that failure is simply data and information about what doesn't work that brings them closer to what does. James Dyson created over 5,000 prototypes before perfecting his revolutionary vacuum cleaner design. Each failure taught him something that brought him closer to the solution. Today, his company generates billions in revenue, and he's worth over $5 billion. His failures weren't setbacks. They were stepping stones. This is why the path to wealth isn't about avoiding mistakes. It's about making better mistakes. It's about failing in ways that teach you something valuable, rather than failing in ways that just waste time. It's about building resilience rather than building defenses. The wealthy also understand the power of compound interest, not just in investments but in everything they do. Small improvements, repeated consistently over time, create extraordinary results. Reading just 10 pages a day equals over 36 books a year. Investing just $50 a week can become hundreds of thousands over decades. Learning one new skill per year creates exponential career advantages. But compounding requires patience, and patience requires perspective. The wealthy think in decades while others think in days. They make decisions based on where they want to be in 10 years, not where they want to be next weekend. This long-term thinking allows them to make choices that seem crazy in the short term, but brilliant in the long term. Consider Warren Buffett again. He's been investing for over 7 decades, and most of his wealth was created after age 65. He understood early that time was his greatest advantage, and he structured his entire approach around maximizing that advantage. While others were trying to get rich quick, he was getting rich slowly and surely. The beautiful truth is that none of this is exclusive to a chosen few. These are learnable skills, developable mindsets, and accessible strategies. The barrier isn't talent or connections or capital. The barrier is the willingness to think differently, to act consistently, and to persist longer than comfort would suggest. But thinking differently requires courage, because it means going against the crowd. It means being misunderstood by friends and family who don't share your vision. It means making choices that seem irrational to people who don't understand your long-term strategy. It means being comfortable with being uncomfortable. The wealthy have learned to embrace uncertainty rather than avoid it. They understand that the biggest opportunities exist in the spaces where others are afraid to go. While everyone else is seeking security, they're seeking growth. While others are trying to minimize risk, they're trying to maximize learning. This doesn't mean being reckless. The wealthy are actually quite conservative with the wealth they've already built. But they're aggressive about building new wealth through calculated risks and continuous learning. They protect their downside while maximizing their upside. Right now, in this moment, you have access to more wealth-building knowledge than any generation in human history. You can learn from the greatest investors, entrepreneurs, and business minds who have ever lived. You can access courses, books, podcasts, and mentors that would have been impossible to find just decades ago. The question isn't whether the information exists. The question is whether you'll consume it, apply it, and commit to the transformation it requires. Will you trade your entertainment time for education time? Will you sacrifice immediate gratification for long-term success? Will you choose growth over comfort? Because at the end of the day, wealth isn't about money, it's about freedom. Freedom to choose how you spend your time, freedom to pursue what matters to you, freedom to contribute to causes bigger than yourself. It's about building a life where you're not just surviving, but truly living. The wealthy understand that money is just a tool, mind the soul, for creating options, for building impact, for leaving a legacy. They don't pursue wealth for its own sake, but for the doors it opens and the problems it allows them to solve. The choice has always been yours. The opportunity has always been there. The knowledge is available. The examples are everywhere. The only question that remains is, will you take it? Your future self is watching this moment, waiting to see what you decide. Will you choose the comfortable path of mediocrity, or will you choose the challenging path of extraordinary? Will you remain a consumer, or will you become a creator? Will you settle for security, or will you reach for significance? The answer you choose today will determine the life you live tomorrow. Choose wisely.